No shouting inside Buckingham Palace. No dramatic balcony confrontation. No furious statement carrying the royal seal. Just one explosive claim spreading across the internet that King Charles had finally signed a secret directive cutting Meghan Markle off from the remaining private channels of the monarchy. According to the story, the order was immediate. Palace briefings were closed. Informal family communications were frozen. Meghan's last symbolic connection to Windsor had supposedly been removed with a single signature. It sounded like the moment Charles finally stopped acting as a wounded father and began acting entirely as king. But there was one disturbing problem. No one had produced the order. No verified palace document had appeared. No named official had confirmed the meeting. And no reliable report had established that Meghan still possessed the kind of royal access she was supposedly stripped of. So was this the king's most decisive private move, or had an old royal separation simply been rewritten as a brand new scandal? Before we go deeper, please subscribe to the channel. We examine the stories shaking the royal family while separating documented developments from claims designed only to shock. The viral version begins with Charles sitting at the head of a palace table. A folder is placed before him. Senior officials remain silent. William already knows what is about to happen, while Catherine understands that the decision could widen the fracture between the brothers forever. Charles signs. Meghan receives the notice in California. Harry watches her expression change. The Duchess reads the words twice, realizing that the palace has not attacked her publicly. It has done something colder. It has quietly removed her from the system. It is an unforgettable scene. It is also a scene for which no verifiable evidence has been presented. The exact dialogue, the signed folder, the private reaction, and the officials supposedly inside the room all depend on unnamed accounts. The claim repeatedly uses official-sounding phrases such as formal directive, documented household note, and verified communications review. Those phrases create authority. But without a document, date, named source, or public confirmation, they do not create proof. And the first confirmed fact changes the entire story. Meghan and Harry have not been working members of the royal family for years. In January 2020, the couple announced that they intended to step back from senior royal duties. The formal arrangement meant they would no longer represent the monarch as working royals or receive public funding for carrying out royal duties. In February 2021, Buckingham Palace confirmed that they would not return as working members of the institution. That means a major question appears immediately. What new official access was left for Charles to remove? There may still be private family communication. Harry remains the king's son. Meghan remains married to a prince and is the mother of 2 of the king's grandchildren. But family communication is not the same thing as access to official royal briefings. A private phone call is not a palace communications channel. A family update is not an institutional strategy meeting. And a personal message from Charles cannot automatically be treated as evidence that Meghan remains inside the operational structure of the monarchy. The official break did not happen in a mysterious meeting this year. It unfolded publicly between 2020 and 2021. Harry and Meghan surrendered their roles as working royals. Harry's honorary military appointments were returned. Several royal patronages were redistributed. Their independent life developed in the United States, outside the daily machinery of Buckingham Palace. That was the genuine closing of the institutional door. Anything after that would require new and specific evidence. But this is where the rumor becomes so powerful. The story does not claim Charles removed something clearly defined. It refers to informal access, symbolic communications, and private channels. Those phrases are almost impossible for the public to measure. They sound meaningful, but they have no visible boundaries. What qualifies as an informal channel? Does it mean a message through an aide? A family phone call? Advance knowledge of a public announcement? An invitation to a private gathering? Or simply the belief that Harry could still reach his father when the situation became serious? Because the phrase is vague, almost any change in the family relationship can be presented as evidence that the alleged order exists. A phone call that does not happen becomes an access freeze. An unanswered request becomes palace protocol. A private disagreement becomes a formal directive. And silence becomes confirmation. But silence proves nothing by itself. The official royal family website still maintains a page for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It acknowledges that they stepped back as working royals, while continuing to identify them as members of the wider family. They have not been secretly erased from every royal record, as some exaggerated stories suggest. That distinction matters. Meghan can remain connected to the royal family by marriage and family history, while holding no operational role inside the royal household. Both things can be true. And once that is understood, the supposed new punishment begins to look less clear. Perhaps the most emotional part of the rumor concerns Harry. The viral story places him inside a private palace confrontation, demanding that Charles explain why Meghan has been humiliated. Harry supposedly enters expecting his father, only to discover that the man across the table is speaking entirely as sovereign. It is powerful storytelling because it touches a genuine wound. Harry has publicly discussed strained family relationships. His memoir, interviews and documentary appearances have exposed disagreements once kept behind palace walls. The royal family, meanwhile, has usually avoided answering every accusation in detail. That history makes another confrontation easy to imagine. But imagination cannot tell us what Charles said behind a closed door. It cannot tell us whether William was briefed first. It cannot tell us whether Harry refused to shake his father's hand. And it cannot transform an anonymous dramatic account into confirmed news. The latest real disputes surrounding Harry's connection to Britain have involved security, accommodation, and the difficulty of bringing his family to the United Kingdom, not a verified order removing Meghan from secret palace briefings. Recent reporting around Harry's July 2026 visit again focused on security concerns and his position as a non-working royal. That is the documented tension. Harry wants his family to visit safely. The authorities assess protection through processes that are separate from the king's private feelings. The Sussexes remain outside working royal life. And reconciliation, where it exists at all, is complicated by years of public accusations and private hurt. None of that requires an invented folder on Charles's desk. Yet the folder remains essential to the viral version because royal power is most dramatic when it becomes physical. A signature, a sealed document, a cancelled meeting, a palace door refusing to open. These images allow a complicated family separation to be turned into one explosive moment. But the real story is more gradual and perhaps more devastating. Meghan did not suddenly lose a fully functioning royal office this week. The Sussex household, established at Buckingham Palace in 2019, belonged to a completely different chapter of royal life. At that time, Harry and Meghan were working royals with communication staff operating inside the palace structure. That arrangement existed before their departure from official duties. The institution changed after they stepped back. Their roles changed. Their funding arrangement changed. Their representation of the monarch ended. By 2021, Buckingham Palace had publicly confirmed that the working royal separation was permanent. So the shocking truth may be that Charles did not need a dramatic new order to remove Meghan from the operational bloodstream of the monarchy. That separation had already happened. What remained was family, not official authority. And family is far harder to regulate. A king can establish who attends a briefing. He can decide which working royals represent the crown. He can approve household structures, residences, and public responsibilities. But he cannot erase the emotional connection between father and son with one signature. He cannot prevent every private conversation from becoming controversial. And he cannot guarantee that reconciliation will occur simply because the institution has established clear boundaries. This is where William enters the story. The viral claim presents him as the silent power behind Charles, the future king, who ensures Meghan will remain excluded not only during the current reign, but during the next one. Again, no verified evidence establishes that William approved the alleged directive. What is publicly known is that William is the heir to the throne and carries a growing number of responsibilities. But being briefed on important royal matters does not prove that he participated in this supposed decision. The rumor needs William because his presence makes the alleged punishment feel permanent. Charles can be portrayed as an emotional father who might eventually soften. William is presented as the colder future monarch who will not. Catherine is then added to give the decision moral balance. She is portrayed not as celebrating Meghan's exclusion, but as quietly insisting that the monarchy needs peace, clarity and boundaries. It is an effective character structure. Charles provides authority. William provides permanence. Catherine provides restraint. Harry provides heartbreak. And Meghan provides the figure outside the closed door. But a perfectly balanced drama can still be unsupported. Then comes the most important question of all. Why are so many viewers prepared to believe this story immediately? Because it is built around emotional truths. The family is divided. Harry and Meghan are no longer working royals. Trust has been damaged. The palace is protective of private communications. Charles must balance his role as father with his role as monarch. William represents the institution's future. Every one of those elements is plausible. The story then adds one unverified signature and presents speculation as conclusion. That is how royal misinformation becomes convincing. It does not invent an entirely new world. It places a fictional event inside a real conflict, and once the event feels emotionally accurate, viewers may stop asking whether it is factually documented. The palace's traditional silence makes the effect even stronger. Buckingham Palace does not issue a denial every time an anonymous account appears online. Responding to every rumor could give weak claims greater publicity. But silence leaves an empty space. And online, empty spaces rarely remain empty. One channel fills the space with an unnamed aide. Another adds an exact quote. A third invents Meghan's reaction. A fourth describes William standing behind the decision. Soon, dozens of videos appear to confirm one another. But repetition is not independent verification. 10 narrators repeating the same allegation do not create 10 sources. They create one unsupported story traveling through 10 voices. As of now, there is no public evidence establishing that King Charles recently signed a new directive stripping Meghan of remaining palace briefings or private Windsor communications. There is no authenticated order. There is no confirmed cancelled response meeting. There is no reliable record of the dramatic confrontation attributed to Charles and Harry. And there is no official statement announcing a new institutional punishment against Meghan. What is confirmed is both simpler and more significant. Harry and Meghan left working royal life years ago. They do not represent the monarch. They do not operate through their former Buckingham Palace household, but they remain connected to the king through family, history and Harry's place in the line of succession. The institution closed one door in 2020 and confirmed it would remain closed in 2021. The unresolved question is whether the family door can ever open again. That answer will not be found inside an imaginary directive. It will be found in future meetings, private trust, security arrangements, and whether both sides can communicate without turning every conversation into another public battlefield. Perhaps Charles will eventually rebuild a stronger relationship with Harry. Perhaps the distance will become permanent. Perhaps William's future reign will create an even firmer division. No one outside the family can state those outcomes with certainty. But one conclusion is already clear. The most shocking element of this story is not that Charles suddenly removed Meghan from the monarchy. It is that a separation completed years ago can still be repackaged as breaking news as long as the story includes a signature, a locked door, and enough private dialogue that no one can verify. The alleged order may never have existed. The dramatic confrontation may never have happened. But the distance between the Sussexes and the working monarchy is real. And until verified evidence emerges, that is where documented news ends and royal fiction begins. Do you believe Buckingham Palace should respond directly when unsupported royal stories go viral, or would a denial only make the rumors even larger? Share your opinion in the comments, and subscribe for royal documentaries that remain dramatic without presenting speculation as confirmed fact.